Harmonizers, we are here doing a dressage type lesson today with Belinda Trussell. Belinda, why don't you share with us what we're doing here and who this is with us?
This is Farley, and he is a very talented dressage horse, yet has had a lot of anxiety. And I knew that I needed to think outside the box with this horse and go from not only a dressage training point of view, but a horsemanship training point of view, and figure out how to help him with his anxiety. So I called Lindsay, and she so generously came to help me, and we had a great first session today.
We're going to share some footage from our lesson today.
Start off with, we had Belinda just show me some of the groundwork that she was already working on. So she'd already kind of dabbled in a few different things and learned about moving the horse around on the ground to try to discover some relaxation. And she said that doing this groundwork definitely did make some of the difference. So I'm just going to share with you some clips of some of the stuff of how she was moving her horse around a little bit. And basically kind of looking for some cross steps of the back legs and then doing cross steps of the front legs. So she was talking about being able to kind of have control of each of the four legs of the horse and being able to move them around a little bit. So I was able to kind of expand on that a little bit for her to help her understand why that was helping, because I think it's always important to understand the why. It just gives a little bit more context to the different things that we're doing. So she was kind of showing me a little bit of moving him around, and Farley actually hadn't been worked in quite a while, so he's actually looking pretty good for how he's doing. And then I'm just going to show you some of the other stuff she did.
And he's really good with all this now, but I did do this all winter with him.
Mm-hmm. Nice, good job.
And then he has this theory that you don't take the pressure away until they relax.
Okay.
So until it goes to that place.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of knows that now, like he's sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one was really hard because he had an accident last fall with his previous rider where the owner came up behind him with a bicycle, and the plastic bag in the was in the basket of the bicycle, and he bolted and ran back to the barn, and then he made a sharp turn and couldn't make the turn and fell.
Oh.
And so he was really terrified of the plastic bag.
Aw.
So it took me a week to get him to touch it.
Oh, wow. Good boy.
And he did it. And the minute he drops his head, I take the pressure away.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I sometimes show him.
Okay. That's good.
Today's not quite as good. But it's amazing. He was running backwards and around kind of when I first brought the bag up.
That's great.
I don't know why, but he loves the American.
Yeah.
And this I can do anything with him. Which is really tough. Oh, I cannot get him to walk on a tarp.
Oh, really?
At all. He will not. I don't know what that's about. But he will walk in water and everything. But I would do things like have an umbrella on like one area and then a tarp, and then he had to walk through that.
Do you have a tarp?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We won't start with that, but I can get him to walk over a tarp.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, I'll show you how I would approach it anyways.
Okay. But he's like, he doesn't care.
That's good. What a good boy. Awesome.
And he's just great. And you know it's weird, like I felt his energy when we first came in, and it was more up than normal, but it doesn't surprise me. The minute I start doing this stuff with him, he's like,
Yeah, he's happy.
yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I almost like, I feel like the flag he's like a soother.
Well, because you kind of taught him that he's got to find relaxation with it, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then my oh, fine. This is self-parking.
Good job.
It's magic.
It's magic.
Belinda finished showing me some of the groundwork that she had learned, and she basically said that was kind of all she had learned on the ground and then was ready to learn more. So I was excited to teach her. And here's a little look at some of the ground exercises that we did. I'm just going to share a few little snippets. We started off with some square exercise, and what I really wanted to help Belinda with was showing her that the exercises that we do on the ground with Harmony Horsemanship, we can completely transfer them into the saddle. And that was one of the pieces where she was getting lost a little bit, as she was doing groundwork and she was finding it beneficial for the horse, but then when she got on the saddle, she didn't know how to keep that relaxation that she was kind of getting from on the ground. So I showed her some of the calm connection exercises on the ground. That's a little look at the S pattern there. And one of the important things when we do the groundwork is that we want to make sure we do both sides of the horse. And here's a little look at our move with me and yield. And then you're going to get to see the same exercises pop up in the saddle as well. So after we did some calm connection exercises, we played a little bit with the all-around game, which is one of the games that we do for confidence building. And basically, one of the things that I like to promote for people is that a lot of people play touch-it game, and they constantly take their horses over to things to let them touch it. But the reality is most of the time you can't do that with horses. They, like let's say there's birds out on the trail, you can't go up and touch a bird. Or let's say you're going into the show ring, you can't go up and touch everything that your horse is potentially scared of. So it makes more sense to play the all-around game where you are practicing not allowing your horse to look and not allowing your horse to touch. So that's what we're doing here. So Belinda had played a lot with the flags and the plastic bags and stuff, but those were things that the horse was allowed to look at and touch, and she was doing the face. And so this is a totally different confidence building game for Farley. So you can see he's got a little bit where he kind of raises his head and gets a little bit worried, but overall did really, really well and not jumping all over the place, which is fantastic. And then here's a little look at moving into the saddle. And we're going to do the exact same exercises that we did on the ground in the saddle. And that's kind of the beauty behind the 6 calm connection exercises from Harmony Horsemanship, is that you have the same exercises, and so the horse recognizes them and they all work really, really well. And you have your same options, so you know what to go to. So we started with square the same way that we did on the ground, doing both directions, and you can see Farley's looking really relaxed and really good. And for the calm connection exercises, one of the key pieces is that you only ride with one rein, because when you start to ride with 2 reins, you can overwhelm horses a little bit. And we're just looking at really having that relaxation piece here. So here's a nice little look at the S pattern, and we're really happy with how he was doing and how he's stretching down, especially because he hadn't been ridden in a little while. And so this is looking really nice and relaxed and doing a lot better than what Belinda was thinking he was going to look like. That's pretty good. So the next one that we get into is our move with me and yield. And this is where we start to have 2 reins and we start to see a little bit of a reaction. He was very anxious doing the dressage work, and that's what we want to work through. So up until this point, we hadn't used 2 reins and we hadn't seen any of this behavior. So this is when she's starting to pick up 2 reins, and we can see him kind of being a little bit sucking back from that and kind of a little bit like, no, it's going to be a bad thing. But really, overall, nothing really awful. And kind of Belinda was saying in the past, he had done some pretty expressive movements, shall we say. And so that wasn't that bad, really, in the whole scheme of things. So that's looking really good. And then she's going to go ahead and do that exercise a few more times. And we always talk about what is kind of treat worthy, because you want to encourage your horse to be progressive and you want to make sure that you're not rewarding bad behavior. So we kind of have tiers of reward. So he didn't earn a cookie for that last one because he did kind of have a little bit of a nope response. So instead she does the exercise again, and then that's looking better still. So he's getting a nice little scratch there, and he's going to get a little bit of a reward because he didn't have any no response. And that's one of the ways that we want to try to do what I call creating a yes horse, which is about creating the yes response and trying to show horses that if they do well and they try their best, then we're going to be kind and we're going to offer rewards. And if you want to learn more about like when or how to use positive reinforcement, there is a free video series on the harmonyhorsemanship.ca website that you can take a look at. And then at the end here is taking a look at the tarp. If you recall when Belinda was doing the flag and stuff like that, she was saying that she was never able to get him to walk over a tarp before. So you can see that he definitely can walk over a tarp. And I'll be putting the full video of how we got Farley to walk over the tarp in less than 10 minutes on the Connection Club videos. But I just wanted to include a snippet for you here. I didn't want to make the video too long for you guys. But you can see that we worked on walking across, nice and calm and relaxed, and then offering positive reinforcement afterwards, and worked really, really well for him.
All right, so we just did one extra little confidence building exercise with a tarp. Can you share with us what Farley was like with tarps before today?
I've never been able to get him on a tarp, like ever. And he once put his foot on it and then just freaked out because he didn't know what to do with it. And just to see him build his confidence and then walk over it like he's just walking on a normal driveway or arena footing or anything, it was amazing. And he did it, with confidence and relaxation. It was incredible.
Very cool. And like it really didn't take that long.
No, very short.
So we have this saying with Harmony Horsemanship that it works for the 8-year-old or the 80-year-old because we don't use a lot of force. After watching that with the tarp and knowing what he was like before, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, there was no force. It was just encouragement and confidence.
A lot of patience, right? Like when you're scared, it's
Yeah.
so pretty cool. We got Farley over the tarp.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Big deal.
He's like, I got a lot of cookies. It was a pretty good deal. Awesome. All right, so we finished our lesson, shared some of the footage with you guys, and then I just want to get Belinda to share a little bit of her perspective of what was new or what did you learn, and what do you think would be helpful for other people to hear?
I think the biggest thing is to really learn about your horse and pay attention to your horse. So that's a big part with a lot of the turns and understanding their mental state and how a horse learns the best. A horse doesn't learn when they're terribly afraid or when they're asleep, and that was huge because that is something I really have noticed too. They have to learn when they're in a calm and alert state, and that is, I think, a key to success in horsemanship. And the figures and the turns that Lindsay showed me today are huge in bringing your horse to that state. So that was extremely helpful. And for me, the one thing I really would like, and Lindsay's helped me here today with that, is to transfer it under tack, because it's so great that we can do all this stuff on the ground, but as a dressage rider or anything that you guys are doing out there, we have to figure out how to do it on them, and that you can transfer those exercises on their back is fantastic.
Perfect. And for me, what was interesting is, so Belinda was she'd already dabbled in some groundwork, and so you were already doing a lot of really neat things. And then I was just able to help you understand, why they were working and a little bit more framework for that piece. So that was kind of interesting. And she already was a big believer in positive reinforcement, was already using some treats in that. So then I just was kind of sharing my perspective of my filter of when to say yes to your horse and when to give those treats, and just kind of adding a little bit kind of more theory as to when to do that. And he was definitely a big fan of that, so that was good. And one of the things you shared with me before was that he wasn't previously taking treats under saddle, that he was actually so anxious he wasn't able to take treats, and that he actually before wasn't able to stand on a loose rein without like pine and stuff. So those were our two breakthroughs today, which is really good. And is there anything else you want to share or add before we wrap up?
No, I think that every horse has so much to offer us, and for us to take the time to understand them is really the key to success and having a great relationship with your horse.
Perfect, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having us. Thanks guys for tuning in. Remember to like this video, comment, and share what you think and what you would like to see next, and subscribe to the channel.